And we're back. Another episode of the More To It podcast, Hail Varsity Magazine, hailvarsity.com. I am pleased to be joined by one of my best buds, and we're kind of neighbors. We're only 6 blocks away, but the sad thing is I haven't seen this guy in forever, I think since his bachelor party in Nashville. Bo Ruud, Bad Dude Bo Ruud, buddy. How are you?
Good. I'm happy to be here. I didn't know you were going to call it the More To It.
Yeah. Yes.
I like it.
You like it?
I do like it.
Yeah, I can't claim that. I can't claim my creativity. The good people at Hail Varsity came up with that, so I have to give them the credit for it.
I like it.
More to it. Yeah, there's going to be more to it or the more you know, kind of like the Reading Rainbow type deal.
Oh, okay.
But we didn't know if that was me like infringing on any like copyrights or stuff.
More to it. Okay.
More to it. Yeah, because there's always something more to it, right?
There is. We got to dig into it.
You got to dig into it.
No, we're neighbors in the same neighborhood.
6 blocks away. It took me 2 minutes to drive here.
Well, I always drive by your house and I wave and I honk. But yeah, you don't probably weave through this part of the neighborhood as much.
No. If we do, it's we're out further east, and it's like, we're like the 48th and Van Dorn area, and then you come this way. You always take the hop on woods, go by your old stopping grounds, like the southeast.
Oh yeah.
And you stroll right through here.
The greatest high school, they say, in the state of Nebraska.
That's debatable. It's very debatable. Dude, it's February 25th. You still got your Christmas tree up.
That's a fact. We're in my house, just so everyone knows.
Right.
But we're in my house, and I had to give Jay a warning that the Christmas tree is still up. I'm not proud of that, but we've been lazy.
What's just so funny was with this podcast and my just doing it. I know I've talked with you a couple times on the phone in scheduling this. I'm like, we live 6 blocks away, and I think this is the first time you and I have hung out since your bachelor party almost 2 years ago. And we live 6 blocks away. We see each other in passing.
Yes. But this is what we've been before we hit record. We had about an hour breakdown of why being an adult gets hard, and we're trying to figure it out.
No, it's not a perfect science.
It's time.
It is
the time thing that we get stuck in this world of what we think we need to do, and you kind of let things slip, and hanging out is what has slipped.
Well, you throw a mix into it. You're now married.
Yes.
I now have a kid.
Yes.
I have a 3-year-old. And my wife, both of our wives obviously are extremely busy. She works like your wife Courtney hasn't been home in like 2 months. She's like traveling everywhere right now.
Exactly. But I think so weekends get tough. The biggest mistake we've made though is during the week you gotta find the hour, the happy hour time, and you gotta take advantage of it. That is what guys need to do with their buddies to maintain like the camaraderie.
I agree.
You can't always put it on the weekend because the weekends are.
It's hard.
That's where family time almost becomes more of a thing. I think you got to make it.
I know we got to do something.
Yes, during the week.
It helps break up the week.
Yes, even
Wednesday,
Thursday 4 or 5
night,
o'clock, you just get an hour in with the boys.
Right.
Boom.
Have a couple beers. You don't have to get blasted. You don't have to be. You go have a couple cocktails somewhere and you're home for dinner. That's what guys did for like Monday through Friday for like back in the day. That's what they did.
Back in the day, which I always loved the idea that you didn't have cell phones. Right. No one could get a hold of you. You'd be at work and no one could get a hold of you. But what you knew was the guys were at the club, the guys were at the bar, and on the way home you would know. You didn't talk to them, but you knew they would be there because everybody had the meeting place. And I think even now we don't use the meeting place because we can get a hold of each other. If you need to see somebody, you text them. But it's almost better if you don't because then it's like there's that built-in, you know where to go.
I was just thinking about this technology. Like I love it and I hate it. You've stayed strong. You're not on social media. You just have Facebook, right?
I've never
done Twitter, no Instagram.
I've never done Twitter, never done Instagram, and I don't post on Facebook.
I get on Facebook every once in a while. I'm off that, but like, could we function nowadays without phones, emails? Could you imagine?
my work in the last 10 years has transformed from I rarely got an email to now I am emailing all day long. I'm texting all day long to my accounts and my people who need things. But when I started, it was just it was more you had to drive to these hospitals and show up, and it was a lot less just email me. It was more like they maybe call you, but nobody was texting, nobody was emailing.
It's a kiss of death because I can literally work from my cell phone.
Yeah.
I don't need a computer. I could literally do anything I need from less writing up like orders and stuff just from my cell phone. But then it's like if I'm away from my cell phone for literally 5 minutes, it like panic sets in. It's like, oh my God, how many emails I missed? Who's trying to get a hold of me? How many phone calls I missed? It's so unhealthy.
It gets weird. It gets weird that that's the way it works now, and you feel like you can't get away from it. But
well, we got a lot of things to get to. We're gonna talk some football, our time at Nebraska, time spent at NFL, just fun stories. When we go through and you look about, I do this all the time. You look at your time that we spent because you're 03 graduated high school. I was 02, so we're only a year behind, and we went through the whole same transition, the Solich to Callahan transition. Your senior year was Callahan's last year. Are you, I don't know if it's annoyed, bugged that our time spent at Nebraska is almost like an asterisk that it was the Callahan era? Have you ever thought about that? Because I do, and I'm kind of annoyed by it.
I would say, I understand exactly what you mean by that, by the feeling that era sort of gets talked about. I'll say this, though. It's almost as more time goes on that you had the Pelini and you had the Riley era. It almost, I think it matters less than it used to. I think right when we came out of it, it felt like it was like we don't want to talk about the Callahan era. It was that sort of feel. But now that there's been more turnover and more changes, I think they realize that if it's not Osborne, Solich, Devaney, right? That it's all going to get kind of lumped together until unless Frost, makes another long run of like a coaching tenure. But I think pretty much anything between Callahan and let's say where Frost is, it's going to get kind of lumped into the different,
I'd agree.
That's sort of the Nebraska transition period or whatever.
Down years.
The down years they might be called, but it definitely felt like a thing, like what you're talking about. It was a thing when when we first got out. It was like, and Callahan then got fired. It was like we don't want to talk about the Callahan.
When I was doing radio full time, we had a guest on, and he called that era the case of the 4-year flu.
That's how people felt about it.
And it kind of annoyed me. I'm like, you say that every time, but it's like I worked my ass off during that time to get it to where it was. But then people are like it's almost like Men in Black, like the flashlight deal. They want to totally, completely erase it from their memory.
That's the thing, but it's also like I think history will be a little bit more kind to us, the players at least, that we had some good players and we at least won our division.
Right. We had some good teams.
We should have been Big 12 champs at least once. We were better than that Oklahoma team in my opinion. And then we kind of had a letdown your junior year, my sophomore year.
Yeah.
We had a couple just letdown games. But your senior year, there's no doubt we were the best team in the Big 12 to me. And we won our division, our division of the conference, but we didn't win the Big 12 title game.
This is the third podcast I've sat down and done. My first one with Doak Ostergaard, and I was talking to him about Callahan, and this didn't make it on to the podcast, but telling stories about Dale Callahan, because you were a captain in 2007, so you probably had, people asked me about my exchange with Callahan. I didn't really have a ton with him. I was just a player. I wasn't a captain in 06, so you guys had 1-1 meetings with Bill. Because who were the other captains? There was Zach Bowman. Who was the other?
Brett Byford.
And Doak was telling me, and this is to make it, that's a great story, and you brought up that Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma, and Doak went up that Sunday or Monday after to have his weekly meeting over injuries, and Callahan was just besides himself. He just started going off about how we're never going to be able to beat Oklahoma. We're not going to be able to beat them. We can't beat them. We're never going to be able to beat them. Yeah. And just weird interaction. I just think, what was your guys' interaction as captains that year, going through all the ups and downs and craziness of his last season as head coach?
This to me was a big problem. Is we didn't have many meetings with
Really?
him. It was limited. I mean, he asked us, and he called us in a few different times. One was for disciplinary reasons. He wanted the captains to do it, and that's fine. I actually liked that part of it. And we had to take care of some things, hand out disciplines, which I thought was, I thought that was actually a good thing. But I don't think he really, spent a whole lot of time and effort trying to communicate with the captains and the team. I mean, that was part of the issue. I think is I don't know.
Interesting, because I remember. Because the captains my senior year were Carricker, Zach Taylor, Rigoni, and they had weekly meetings. I think they met with him on every Sunday or Monday. They had a meeting, like every week. That's interesting to see.
If I'm remembering right, I don't think it was every week. It was just a handful of times.
And I'm sure. Let's be honest. Seemed like he got. Is disinterested the right word to say at that time? I think he saw the writing on the wall.
Not until after the USC loss. Because we were ranked,
right,
and USC was coming in, and it was the game of the week. I mean, it was
I remember,
college game day, and I think his whole career at Nebraska was coming up to that moment. He brought in Keller.
Right.
Keller had played well against USC. I mean, it was all for that game, and I think that game went south, and he lost it. He lost his mind a little bit with that one. I mean, he literally flipped on us.
Do you think that season goes different? I mean, they bring in Keller. Because he was there, he was redshirting my senior year, your junior year, and he was a scout team. I think it would have gone differently with Gans.
Yeah, I do think it'd be a little bit different. I mean, I don't think it'd been completely different because the problems were on defense.
Yeah,
a lot.
You had issues D-line wise.
Yeah,
I mean, we lost
you and Carricker.
We lost Ola and Barry Pryor, 4 guys. I mean, their whole starting guy. I mean.
And that made we had Sue, but it wasn't Sue as you know.
It was pre-Bo Pelini.
Undisciplined Sue, who was, had, he at times was, you'd be like, that's not Sue. If you watch the film again, you'd be like, that's not Sue. But it was a guy with all the potential in the world that just didn't know how to channel it at the time, and they, the people weren't getting it out of him. But, it's funny. The Joe Gans thing is it's a big what if. What if Joe Gans been playing the whole year, but. Joe should have won that job probably in spring, but it was given to Sam Keller on a platter.
Yeah.
And I remember Joe was talking about, maybe transferring, and we all had to have a come to Jesus, like, just please don't transfer, talking him out of it, because I think he knew he deserved that job, but they wanted Keller because Keller looked the part. He did.
I remember even being in practice my senior year and Keller being the scout team quarterback. And there was one time I got in there and swiped the ball to his hand. You're not supposed to touch the quarterback. Who gives a shit? It's the scout team quarterback. And Keller got all pissed off about it. And Kaz came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you got to lay off him. That's our quarterback next year." I'm like, "Really?
It was so set
That's your
in
quarterback
stone.
next year?" Like, because to be honest, I wasn't. I mean, he looked the part. But he wasn't overly impressive.
You know what though? He did have the if you had to say what is a quarterback's attitude like, he kind of had the attitude. He had the swagger. He had a lot of the things. I just don't know that he had the game. He didn't have the arm, and he didn't have all the intangibles on the field. He had the off the field sort of like he looked it right. Everything about him looked it, but it never really happened on the field with him.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a wild year. I was talking to Doak. I asked him. I go, "Where's it? We're at right now with Nebraska football." And I'm like, "Could you pinpoint where it all went wrong?" He's like, "Yeah, hiring of Steve Peterson and Bill Callahan." And I go, I agree. And it's just crazy that we lived it. That was our era.
We did. I mean, we watched. I mean, it was shocking at the time, but when they fired Frank Solich, I mean, it was like the world stopped.
9-3.
9-3, but I think the thing that people always forget is, weren't we gonna the whole team was on the verge of sitting out the bowl game in protest?
Yeah, I remember that meeting.
And Pelini talked us out of it.
Well, he did. Well, because I remember in the old South Stadium, that old meeting room upstairs, and people were literally going to boycott the bowl game because they didn't name a head coach yet. I do remember Bo coming in and like pretty much promising us that he was going to be the head coach.
And to not do, he's like, you can do what you want, but I would recommend you don't do that. And I think maybe was it Dane Todd stood up as the voice of reason and said, we're not sitting, like this is.
I remember Dane's young. I mean, he
was a young guy then.
Redshirt freshman. He's like, I came here to play football. I'm gonna play football. Because we were supposed to have practice like that afternoon.
Yeah, because there was a strong contingent of that team that was gung-ho about making a protest and walking out.
I forgot about that.
It's one of those that almost gets lost in history, but it was almost decided to walk out. And there, everybody else was just kind of like, whoa. I was young, so I didn't really get a strong opinion. But Dane was one that stood up, and Bo Pelini came in and basically said, I would recommend you don't do that.
Knew. I mean, I don't know if he's just, saying that because he knows we have to play. Like, he's like, you got to play. You can't boycott a bowl game. I mean, the money that's involved.
It seems crazy to boycott a bowl game when that's like your reward.
Right.
But I think it was just.
Well, that's how pissed we were, though, because he did deserve to be fired.
No, but
Frank Solich should still be the football coach at Nebraska today.
I'll tell you what, we always, the other big what if is if you don't fire Solich and you have, 3 or 4 more years of Solich with Pelini at D coordinator.
Dude, I mean, the talent that was there already.
We had
everyone that's coming back from 2003 who we were top 25 nationally overall. I mean,
that defense was wasn't it? It was close to a top 10 defense in the country, wasn't it?
I know it was for sure top 25. I probably could pull it up, but I mean, you had Josh Bullock's All-American. I mean, you had your brother
Dan Bullock,
Josh Dan, Lakeven,
Carricker, Stu,
Titus Adams. Like,
I mean, Stu,
you go down the
Carricker,
we're missing a lot of people.
Fabian. Those are That's a first round NFL draft. Like it's crazy when
there's
you think.
There's 2 second rounders, 3 second rounders, a first rounder.
Crunk juice.
Crunk juice. I'm going to get crunk juice on the pod. I've already reached out to somebody on schedule.
That's almost the whole defense was, NFL draft picks, and you give them with another year under Pelini, who had transformed that defense in a year. And I felt it when I was there. It was an awesome situation, and it's a shame that you can never see what that could have been, maybe.
Right. And because it was fun. It was like people. I didn't really get into this with Kenny, recording the pod with him, just because it's just podcasts that go their own way. But Bo always kind of rubs people the wrong way, but the players just love him so much.
Yeah.
But like, how much fun? Like, don't get me wrong, love playing for Coach Kaz too, but it was different with Bo.
Whatever the juice is, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is.
It wasn't, and maybe Bo, it didn't always work this way when he was the head coach here, but whatever happened when he got there, everybody was bought in as much as I've ever seen. Like, it was amazing to see how much every single guy on that team was like. They would run through a wall for that guy, and it happened instantly. He just had everything was working, and the momentum was all there. It was awesome to feel that. And I was just a young guy, but I got to travel with the team that first year. I wasn't sure if I was going to redshirt till about halfway through, and I mean, you're just like, this is.
And that's why he's going to kill at LSU, because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the head coach responsibilities. Doesn't have to worry about recruiting as much. He can just coach.
You saw what happened when last time he was there. They won a national title. Right. In 07 when he was the D coordinator. Like, that's why they won a national title. You couldn't score on him.
He's gonna kill it. It's just it's those years, those transitions. You look back. We'll get into some NFL talk here because Kenny and I got us some NFL talk. Was it ever a thought? You had a really good junior year.
Yeah.
Do you think that was your best season at Nebraska? I guess I don't know. That's fair to say.
I was a better player as a senior. I thought I was a lot better. It was just I got put in a new position and I got hurt. Mm-hmm. So I was bigger, stronger, faster.
Did you have to move to Sam?
I moved to Sam, and they almost played it like they played an over, and I was supposed to be in a certain position in the last minute. They moved me to almost like where a strong safety would come down.
Wait, so we ran under. I didn't realize you guys moved to over.
We went to over, and I was going to be in like what you would probably call like in an over defense. Derek Brooks, that's where I was supposed to be. And then they like, instead of being back, they put me off to the side, and it sort of changed the whole dynamic of where I was playing, and it really didn't work out well for like getting you involved in things. Mm-hmm. And so the position change did not help me at all in terms of, you know, getting a chance to do what I did best. I mean, not that I had a bad year, I just didn't get a lot of action,
right?
You know.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know?
First time that you guys went to over.
Yeah.
Now
so
you know you moved to Sam.
When I played in the 4-3 in the under Will, I was in the action all the time. You know, I got to be in the passing game. All the time.
You and I played on the same side every play.
So I mean, as long as they, you know, if they ran to our side, it was just like,
we're locked up.
Thank you.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
You know.
You remember the revert call?
Oh no, we had the
every other play.
Revert, yeah, because anytime you had to go cover displaced,
I had
to take a gap.
Yeah.
Whack. That's what we called it. Whack, and then yeah. We called it whack. Yeah.
But that was it.
That was it.
That was a like So if you had to ask me what was the difference, I mean, because between my junior year and senior year, everybody thought I was like, I thought I was way better as a senior, but it just was. We had a worse D line. I mean, playing in front behind you and AC and those guys were like...
But isn't it funny, though, how people look at records and how the teams are, and they automatically think, because you had, was there ever an opportunity you thought to come out early your junior year?
Not until after the season, and when you actually heard,
right.
I never would have considered it.
Yeah, I mean, because you had, you were, let's just get up stats. I mean, you were, I think, first team All Big 10 or All Big 12 coaches, and and it's just crazy. But then it's just the game of football. All of a sudden you're, what we were 9-4, and all of a sudden you're 5-6, and how people think.
And you get hurt, and all of a sudden, like you go,
what happened?
And you're and even being a better player, like somehow that gets. They grade you worse or something, and you go, like, I don't know, I want to be like, are you watching the film? Like, I don't know, but
it's just a stigma. It's totally a stigma with. That's why
the same goes in NFL free agency. If like your team sucks, like you're gonna have a lot harder time getting paid. But if you're on a winning team, you can be a worse player and you can make a lot more money.
100%. Well, because coaches like to watch good football.
Yeah,
they're watching tape. They don't want to watch shitty football. So then those guys stick out. Oh, I've watched 17 Alabama games this year. Who's this guy I keep seeing on the time? Well, all of a sudden he was a 7th round undrafted. He all becomes a 4th rounder or a 3rd rounder.
And so he gets paid, and the guy that is the best player in this other team, he ends up going later, but he ends up being a way better player down the road just because he's not playing for Alabama.
So that's a perfect transition to where I want to go now, because Kenny and I had these discussions about NFL, and my career, Kenny's career, your career. All started off with injuries, and how you view the NFL and how you, your dad played, obviously your brother had a really good career, but how you viewed it and how you experienced it, like, are you bitter about it? Are you like, do you look back and like, I could have played?
Oh, I think that that when you get there, like, hey, you can play, right? If you're playing with the guys that do play, you kind of either know I can or I can't. And I always completely believed I could, but I needed to be I'm not the biggest or the strongest guy, or, with that, it comes to you need to be in the right situation. And I never got into the spot I needed to be.
Yeah, I agree. Like the situation for people, I didn't get into that with Kenny, but I struggled I got hurt, but I had to learn a whole new position. Yeah. I was a 4-3 defensive end. All of a sudden I play a 3-4 outside linebacker.
That's yeah.
I had to relearn the game of football.
Yeah, how to play that position is not the position you were a hand in the ground. Yeah,
it set me back 2 years because I couldn't tell you the difference between cover 2, cover 4, cover 6, cover 9. All of a sudden I had to know them all.
And you had to
communicate.
You had to think too, probably. Yeah. Other than like you were just
listen
playing
and react. Oh my God, those first preseason games I played in, I looked like I had 2 left shoes on, and I've never played the game before.
I'll tell you what was weird. I don't know about you, but we played special teams at Nebraska. I felt like special teams in the NFL was such another level that I thought it was much harder to make the jump from college special teams to pro than it was like college every down play to pro every. And that might sound crazy, but the other part was easier for me. I could always understand the schemes and I could understand what to do. I thought that the special teams, some of those guys are great at that.
Dude. They make careers.
And it's like you went to arguably the greatest franchise in all professional sports, the Patriots. I went to the 49ers, who again arguably one of the greatest organizations. Yeah. But at the time, they were terrible. Yeah, it was Singletary.
Well, they had Nolan that went to Singletary.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, obviously this is in 2007. I mean, the Montana years were 20 years before that.
Yeah.
So I mean. But yeah, those special, I remember guys on there. I mean, that's just what they were backups, and they started special teams. But they were so freaking good, and the techniques and tricks and little things that they had.
Here's what I'm convinced of. There's two kinds of football players. The guys that are good at every down. There's guys that are like they have a talent for special teams, like running and dodging down the field on a kickoff. It's its own skill. It's not necessarily like you. And that doesn't always translate well to the guys that once you put them in the box and you got to be able to run side, as a linebacker, run each direction 15, 20 yards, forwards, backwards, sideways, and read things. Those guys aren't always the best at special teams, but same and vice versa. The guys that are good at that aren't always great special teamers either.
I think it's just interesting. Those guys that the special teams guys who are really good had to play them because of how they came in the league. Would you agree? Those guys were mainly. Is rarely you saw a first rounder, a second rounder, or even a third rounder who end up being really good special teams players.
No, not usually.
Because they had to, and they got pretty damn good at it.
Yeah.
And then, you still. That's the thing is, you're really good at special teams. You still got to be able to play a position because if one guy's down, you're usually up. There's only 46 guys that dress on game day.
Yeah, that's
what the crazy thing is though too, because I remember Jeff Ulbrich, who played with the 49ers forever. He's still coaching. I think he's with Seattle or Atlanta. I can't remember where he is now. But he could literally draw up the whole defense and tell you what every person's doing.
Yeah.
He played 10 years. But he was really good on special teams. I would say he played.
That's how you make it 10 years as a special team, though. You do both. You do that well, and you can at least you understand what everybody's doing. So if you have to back it up, you know what to do.
Right. Your injury when you got to New England, your first year, because you were on IR for the whole year, right?
Tore up my ankle.
Did you say? Yeah, me too.
Like bent it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't break it. I had an eye ankle sprain. I've been better off breaking my ankle. They told me I'd have recovered faster from a broken ankle than I would have from a high ankle sprain.
Oh, I've always rolled ankles. I've done that in basketball 50 times. When you do a real ankle and tear it up, it's like you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to put this in the ice bucket for 4 to 6 weeks and it's going to be fine.
Right.
And then you realize, 3 months later, it's like, oh, I can barely run like I used to. So that was a wake-up call. I didn't realize how bad it was until months later, and I was still, even a year later, I was like running and I could feel like my ankle would just give, and I'd be like, whoa. So
how are you viewed? Because I had a few interactions with the Patriots organization. They worked me out pre-draft, and then once I got cut by San Francisco, I worked out for them again. So I kind of, how were you viewed on IR? Did you stay around New England, or did you come back home right away?
I stayed there till the draft. After the draft was over, they drafted. They knew what they were doing. They were going to release me, I think, after the season anyway, because the guy they drafted me and an undrafted guy after I got hurt made the team, and basically took the role I was going to take. And so I think then you're damaged goods, and
totally
that's part of the game.
Yeah.
So then I was off to Cleveland, and but yeah, it was just tough that the opportunity was there, and you just can't stay healthy, man. That's it.
I said your most important year is your first year if you're not a first round pick.
If you're first, second, or third round pick, I think you even third, some thirds, second for sure, but thirds even a little bit. You could get hurt and you're fine at those 3 spots. Any other spot, you got to stay healthy.
See, I was fairly surprised. I was a 4th round pick.
You were 101st pick, is that right?
104th. 104th, I think, in the 4th round. I spent my first 2 years. I got hurt in the same preseason game, the 4th preseason game, 2 years in a row, and they still kept me.
But that tells you something. That's awesome. They kept
I was
you.
grateful. I got cut going into my 3rd year because I got freaking hurt again.
Think about that, 3 years in a row.
And I go to the Rams.
It's just bad luck.
You got to tell. So I've heard this story before. You've told me, but we were with the Patriots. But going back to the meeting room, attention to detail story, Tom Brady, and then when Belichick started asking you to go around the meeting room.
Oh,
you got to tell that because I know you told it with Nick's pod that you do, and you got to tell the listeners here. I think that's just a phenomenal story about how. Yeah. Certain people operate and why some people are so freaking good at that level.
Yeah, so I think when I usually tell somebody asks well, what's the difference between New England and another team or these other teams? And I there's a million things, but I like this story because this is always the one that kind of it's really stood out to me where I was kind of I was sitting there and so anyway, so. It's the first week. We've done preseason games. It's the first week of the season, and
you've already been hurt, right?
Yeah, I'm on IR, so I'm in the
already but you're still kind of mentally checked out, right?
No,
you're still into it.
I'm into it because I have to give presentations to the team.
That's what Kenny had to do. He told me that when he got hurt in Tampa Bay because he was on the IR before. This is a new IR, so you had the 8-week IR or the full season, so he could come off. So he was given scouting reports. He did presentations for the wide receivers.
That's a New England thing. I'm convinced that they started that.
And I was blown. I'm like, whoa. I kind of was like, I wish I was able to do that because I went to meetings. So I'd get there I'd get to the facility at 6 a.m. so I could eat because I need to get with the trainers before they had to take care of the guys who were actually playing.
Yeah.
So I had to do my rehab, get my treatment because I wasn't allowed to go to practice. So I'd go to the meetings, and once they left the practice field, I went home. So I was home by noon every day. You want to talk about being completely bored out of your mind in San Jose, California by yourself from noon on?
Hey, wait. Oh my God. At least you're in I was in Foxborough in the freaking forest. I mean, it's in a forest. It's small town.
I've been to Brazil.
But I lived a stone's throw behind the stadium, too. So
good. But sorry.
No, so anyway, so it's first week. It's the first week of the season. We're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and this is notable because that was the game Brady got hurt in.
Oh, when he took,
the guy went low in the first quarter. But anyway, so we've done the preseason stuff, the games, everybody, and so it's Tuesday, which is the first day of the week. And typically, you start your scouting report, you do these things, but Belichick starts out he starts peppering the young guys. Rookie left tackle, who's the defensive end you're going against this week? And they kind of look, I don't know, and then it's like, hey, young cornerback, who's the receiver this week? And he's like, I don't know. And so so then he goes, he turns Tom Brady, goes, he goes, who's the backup cornerback? And then Tom, it's this guy. Boom. He goes, what does he do good and what does he do bad? And he goes, well, he does this. This is kind of what he's doing. And so Brady's listing off all this stuff on the backup cornerback. And he's like, he moves, he comes in for nickel. And it's just, you're like, and it's Tuesday. And then he goes, and then Belichick turns everybody and goes, just so you know, this isn't high school. This isn't college. You come in here on the weekend and you better figure out who you're playing. You better start your scout. We don't do that later in the week. We do that before we get here. And everybody kind of just that was new was like, oh my God, this is why these guys are serious. Right. So, what do they do different? They do all that stuff better.
Right. That's crazy. Because, it is, when you say going from organization to organization, it was not like that when I was in San Francisco. It might be there now, like that now with Shanahan. But when I left, so I'd get cut. It's just crazy how the NFL business works. So I get cut by the 49ers. I come home for a week or two. I think you and I might have even trained together because you're still trying to play. And I get a call from an agent on Monday night. He's like, you're flying to Foxborough in the morning. They want to work you out. Because they always bring, the guys in on the day off. So do that. They just, our plan is we want to sign you, but not till the week after. So we want you to come in here, get all your physical stuff done, get all your medical stuff done. We'll send you home. Then we're going to sign you probably the week later. So of course I do that. Work out. I got one change of clothes. I get in the airport. I have like 4 hours to my flight in Boston to back home to Lincoln. I'm like about ready to get in a cab to go sightseeing. I'm a history guy. I want to go see like old downtown.
Yeah.
Because I knew it wasn't too far. The agent calls, hey, St. Louis wants to sign you to their practice squad. And I'm like, but New England just said they were going to sign me next week. I go, that sounds a lot better. He's like, you don't know that. They could not be signed. They might not sign you.
They were going to sign you for not practice squad, but
they just said for active.
Oh.
Because I was a 3-4 outside linebacker. They were a 3-4 team.
Yeah.
Like, I was finally in year 3. I fully understood a 3-4 scheme. And theirs is different. Theirs is more of a, I guess you'd call it the Belichick 3-4.
It's a two-gap.
Yeah, I came from more of the Bill Parcells. Not Bill Parcells.
No,
I came from more of the Wade Phillips 3-4.
Yeah, whereas more movement, right?
Correct. Yes.
More gap. You gap out a little bit more.
Right. So I'm like, okay. So I literally fly from Boston to St. Louis that night with my one change. It's Tuesday. Practice is the next day. I get there with my one change of clothes. They put me in a hotel. I show up I go do my physical. I show up to the St. Louis facility. They're in Earth City. Obviously, they're not there anymore in LA. And I'm in the team meeting room. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. I have no idea what position they want me in. I literally see.
Is the season already started?
Yes, we're in week 3.
Okay, this is week 3.
This is week 3.
That's right.
Steve Spagnuolo is the new head coach. He just came from the Giants.
Yeah.
As a DC.
But you're getting to play defensive end probably, right?
So they run a 4-3. I have no idea what they want me to do. No position. They never said. I get to the meetings. I see Richie Incognito's on the team at the time from Nebraska, so under Richie. But Larry Grant, who was with the 49ers with me, they just signed him like in the offseason, so he was there. And he's like, I'm like, dude. He's like, I just come to the linebacker room. I was a linebacker for the whole year.
Nobody told you what to do?
No one told me. I was a linebacker for the whole year. Now, when it came to scout team, I played 4-3 defensive end and
I don't
like
understand.
3-4.
Who?
Right, it's hard.
Who? I don't understand how that's possible.
Right.
So they wouldn't give you direction like you. Well, did you want to play defensive end?
Yeah, I said sure, but this just shows you how organizations differ. And no wonder why they weren't very good for so many years.
Yeah.
But that's why I left too. Like they wanted me to come back because I was really good on special teams with them.
Yeah.
So I kind of at that time I matured. I'm like, if I'm gonna make it in this league, I got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So I would just special teams period was like I'm getting after it a little bit here.
Yeah.
And the special team coach loved me. He's like, I want to bring you back. You can play for me on special teams. Blah blah blah. But they said they want to move me to a outside a Sam linebacker in a 4-3. I go, I have to learn another position.
Oh man.
So I leave and I go to the Titans. And then I'm gonna cut again. And we were with you were with me the day.
Yeah.
Remember that? So it's just crazy how organizations operate. Hey, why would they? I did play defensive end. I played it good against a scout team. And you played 4-3 defensive end in college. You should probably play that position. I also played tight end in a scout team. The tight ends coach was like, you probably play tight end too. I probably would have been an easier adjustment for me to play tight end than a Sam linebacker in a 4-3.
Truthfully, it might be because it's you might have been just they ask you to block and block release cross route it's not that hard.
No, but it just shows you the difference of organizations that are out there.
That's so bad. How was it? That's one of those that's embarrassing.
Right, and I'm.
That means there's somebody signing you who's Jay is rated high on our board. Well, we're gonna bring him in, and they don't there's no communication with the coaches.
The assistant GM used to be in San Francisco. I guess he was there when they drafted me.
Yeah, he was on high. You were high on his board, and he just said, "We'll take you."
mean, like, what are we doing here? But that just shows you, like, the disorganization. It happens everywhere. Wow. I mean, the stuff you probably saw going from the best franchises to one of the worst franchises, and you go from New England to Cleveland.
Well, Cleveland at least was Mangini trying to do his Belichick impression. So he was at least trying to do that. So that was somewhat the same. And the special team coach really liked me, and he was over in Cleveland. So as soon as I was released, he wanted me there. But then I went to Tampa with my brother for 2 weeks. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
But like that was a eye-opener to me. I told my brother, I said, you guys aren't near as organized as we. I mean, it was a different energy completely. Definitely.
Because Gruden wasn't there anymore, right?
No, Raheem took over, and they had a new D coordinator, and it was just like you could tell they had a bad year. I mean, they didn't win much that year, but you could almost feel that like it was just the discipline was not the same.
Yeah, it's crazy. How's your body now?
Other than
the shoulder that we talked about?
Losing the weight helps, but yeah, for me, just, shoulder, knees a little, but other than that, I feel pretty good.
Yeah. How was, are you still, I feel kind of responsible for this, the diet that, you eat pretty damn clean.
Pretty clean, yeah. I
had you watch that documentary, and you changed from there on.
Yeah, I've been pretty good. You know what? I've recently just started this about month and a half, 2 months ago. I'm trying the intermittent fast. So you eat in that window. So you eat
How do you do that?
All you got to do is just get over the first week or two, and it's all good.
See,
do you do coffee in the morning?
I love coffee.
So you do the bulletproof coffee. So you can put the fats in there.
Yeah.
So you get your fats.
See, I do that. I already put the MCT oil and collagen in my coffee in the morning.
Yeah. Throw in a big scoop of coconut butter or coconut oil, and you'll be good to go. And then you go and you eat from noon to 6 or 8, and then you just don't eat late night.
So you have coffee. You don't eat until lunch.
Yeah.
But you can eat whatever you want from noon to 6.
I try to eat clean.
Clean, but yeah.
I'm not caught up in this real specifics though. It's like eat good food somewhat.
Right. Moderation.
Yeah. But I'm not just like, hey, eat cheeseburgers and pizza every day in this window.
Right.
Like that's stupid. I mean, but I do think since I've started, it's like I think I lost 6 or 7 pounds, and I'm not even that that big right now. So each pound you lose, you're like, whoa! I was 200 the other day, which for me is
last
light.
time you've been 200.
High school? Sophomore year of high school.
So I just tried to do. I haven't fully embraced it. So I see Jason Peter a lot. Play a lot of golf with him.
Is he getting you to juice?
So no,
juice cleanse?
No, he's tried. I did
it.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did it.
Did you do the 5-day one?
I did a 3 or 4 day, and
I was 3.
I was miserable.
Yeah.
I think it's good for you to do. That one's hard. You want to talk about what's hard? That's hard.
Right. I think. But did you try doing it hardcore? Did you do the snacking? Did you do the almonds?
I didn't eat one almond.
Really? See, I would have to.
That's what I'm saying.
I can do the 3. I think it's a good reset. So I think if you want to do intermittent fasting, but you do that before. To start clean, start fresh.
I'm everything that they're saying about nutrition is fasting or taking a juice cleanse or something once a year, just something it's all good for you to let it all through your system, and it lets your body sort of repair itself because it's not just constantly digesting food.
Jason and I were playing golf, and he had me watch. You can watch this. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's called Game Changers on Netflix.
I did see that.
Yeah. He has gone 100% vegan. Jason Peter. So I can't do it, but I've been trying to eat no meat. And I'll be honest, I fail terribly at it. I have to have a cheeseburger every now and then.
Yeah.
But I'm experimenting, finding different things.
Yeah.
And I think I couldn't become full no meat just because I think. We're in the freaking Midwest, and I've grown up eating meat, I think.
Yeah.
But I haven't eaten meat in 3 days.
That's I think there's a place for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I don't know. I watched that documentary, and I think there's some real truth to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do, but I also think that as long as you're not if you eat meat at every meal, then like probably too much meat, right? But I also think it's like if you eat meat once a week, it's like that's all good.
Well, my biggest thing, like when I was first doing it, I'm like I cannot like just throw it out of my diet completely. I'd just only do it for dinner.
Yeah.
But it wasn't me like I'd eat like a 48-ounce ribeye. No, I'd have like chicken or fish or something. You know, if it was you'd have steak, it was a small fillet. But like not doing it for breakfast and lunch is super easy. It's like it's come to like dinner. I'm like I need some meat in my diet.
But you're a big guy too. It's like that's a big change.
But no, it's interesting. Like you find things like I found like places that have good veggie burgers.
Yeah.
I found like we've tried like the fake. I call it fake, but like the substitute chicken.
Sure.
It's actually really freaking good.
I've
done make tacos and stuff.
That stuff's all good. I mean, they're like the people that dog on that. It's it's all just it's kind of that just stereotypical. It's easy. Mm-hmm. It's a low hanging fruit joke, right? Like, hey, why don't you eat another tofu burger? That's it's great, right? But that stuff all tastes pretty good, really. I mean, my whole thing is I just like to eat clean for the most part. And I'm not trying to limit what it is as much. I mean, I've done 3 months where I didn't eat meat.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I knew you ate clean. I knew you eat like super clean, but like
I try
it was
stuff.
Like fish.
I try stuff.
I think it's good for me because it's a challenge, like during the winter where I can't get out and play golf.
Yeah.
I need something to like focus my energy on, and it's been good. But I didn't know you've gone that long.
No, see, I've tried a bunch of different stuff. Like I go through little things where I tinker in it, but what I find is like. No, I don't think any of it's perfect. I think you always are going to have. There's going to be no perfect one. So
there isn't.
What I like more is this window I'm doing right now, more than diet. I don't like diet as much as I like just do it, eat in your window, and eat clean.
How do you feel though? Like, do you feel famished at noon?
No, I won't be. If I'm feeling famished, I'd rather eat. I'm not going to do it. If I'm feeling famished, really? Like if you're feeling like you're lightheaded, like well, what's the point of doing it then, right? Like you only should do it if it's gonna make you feel better. Uh-huh. So don't do it.
How long are you trying to do it? Are you gonna try to make this like routine?
I'm gonna try to do. Everything I do, I don't do to like. I mean, unless you do like a fat, like a
cleanse. Or
a cleanse, like that's something you do. But I don't want to do like I'm doing an 8-week diet.
Right.
Like I don't do that.
Right.
Like I want to do
8-week
lemon
and
I'm doing Weight Watchers. I'm doing my Weight Watchers program, and 6 weeks from now, my waistline. Yeah.
Oh.
No, whatever I do, I want it to be my. That's how I live.
That's interesting. See, my mom's doing it, and she says it's pretty easy. I'm just like, I didn't know you were doing it.
I would have thought that was insane to not eat breakfast, and then after.
So when's your window shut off? You said 6 o'clock.
I try to not eat anything after 7.
After 7, so
you can go to 11. You can go to 11 a.m. So it's like almost eating brunch every day. So I eat a breakfast at 11 or 12 because I like my breakfast.
Bro, I think I'll do breakfast. Breakfast is the best meal.
Hey,
of the day.
screw lunch. Give me breakfast.
Right.
I'd eat. Hey, if the window was 5 to 10 at night, I'd eat breakfast for dinner. I think.
It's interesting. How was the first few days of doing it? Is your body just like...
First few days were a little weird.
Yeah.
But I did the thing where you put the fat, the big scoops of fat in the... So you're doing a big thing of butter and a big thing of coconut oil. And so you're doing this coffee that's like... You're like...
Well, did you read the thing that Phil Mickelson does? Did you read that article? He'll go on a fast for 6 or 7 days, and it's like... He does Ethiopian coffee, which is like the strongest coffee you can get.
Oh.
He does like collagen, MCT oil, cinnamon. There's like 8 things in there. Because have you seen him lately? If you don't know if you've watched golf, you're not like a golf dork like I am. But like he is.
Has he lost a lot of weight?
Dude, he's skinny as hell.
Because Phil was looking a little hefty.
Yeah, he was. Like he
was a hefty lefty.
Now he eats better and he works out more, but like he'll do this hard reset. He calls it. He'll do it for like 6-7 days, where this is all he drinks is this coffee. He'll just drink it throughout the day. But it's like all that stuff.
I
plus
bet he loses 20 pounds of crack every time he does it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, so this is hard with me when I try to eat good. Then it's like so I worked out. I dropped kid off the daycare. I worked out. So I did the old Coach K stair climber.
Okay.
20-minute intervals, minute on, minute off. Hard to slow. But I came home and I'm like, we have like the cauliflower crust pizzas, like veggies.
I love them. I love those pizzas.
I did not have the box that says like caloric intake breakdown.
Yeah.
But I ate the whole thing.
I always eat a whole one of those whole pizzas if I'm eating it.
But I ate half of them. Like I feel like I hadn't eaten anything. But then I'm like, Jesus, fat ass, you just ate a whole pizza.
But here's the thing: if you're eating that pizza, you got to eat the whole thing, right?
Right. Well, but again, it's like I don't want to throw like these 3 pieces away because I know like reheating it, that's not gonna be very good in the microwave. You eat.
If I'm eating pizza, I'm eating the whole thing.
Okay, I don't feel so bad.
No, hey, I don't. When I eat a lot of it. But like I said, I like the idea of this because if you're a guy that likes to turn it loose, just
do it.
Then you just know. Ring, ring. It's noon. Turn it loose, baby.
So, go get the diets. How are your workouts? Do you lift at all?
Yeah, still working out.
You still?
Pretty good, yeah.
You can still lift with your shoulder?
It's going to be careful.
Yeah.
I'm this guy. I'm this guy. Can't get out.
Yeah.
How about you? Because you were going pretty hard there for a few years. You still doing because you were doing kettlebells, you were doing all sorts of stuff.
In the winter, I hit it hard.
So
obviously, being the golf nerd that I am now, the golfer, all my workouts are based. So I have a buddy who is a trainer down in Phoenix, and he screened me. He's like, okay, this is bad for your body, or this is what you need for your golf swing. But I honestly do stuff to play better golf now. But it's amazing how much explosive weightlifting is into it. I'm doing box jumps, trap bar deadlifts, tons of kettlebell stuff, ropes.
Is it a lot of twisting core work?
No, so it's really hardly any golf swing stuff. It's like we do box jumps, but it's 180 box jumps. So instead of just jumping up, you stand sideways, so you jump and then turn 180 degrees on the box. So you're kind of jump, but you're getting that kind of movement. We'll do dumbbell snatches. Mm-hmm. That's kind of kind of got back into squatting a little bit, but not bar on the back. I do this.
Load it up.
Oh my God, no
Load
way.
it up, baby.
And by loading it up, there was 275, and I thought I was gonna die the other day doing it. Oh. But I did the safety bar, where it comes down to the handles. Because my biggest thing is don't be an idiot and hurt yourself. Because I've already had back issues.
Yeah.
But from the stuff he does and things I've learned, my back has been really, really good. And I'll be honest, I started taking CBD a year ago. Yeah. And that has helped me immensely.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people.
Have you tried it at all?
No, I haven't. But people say that one is it's good. It's really good on the it helps you sleep. I
do the cream on my elbow because I have bone spurs in my left elbow. It's jacked up. You can see it's
oh yeah. Oh.
It's nasty. But I take 50 milligrams. I started taking them at night more because they will kind of almost mellow me out too much sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I wake up in the morning. There used to be times where I'd wake up in the morning, and it'd literally be 20 minutes before I feel like I can get upright.
Yeah.
But now it's oh, I'm good.
Well, that's it's amazing watching how many of those shops are popping up, the CBD shops. Mm-hmm. I think there's at least 3 or 4 in Lincoln now. At least. I've seen at least 3 in the last week. So
there might be double digits now in Lincoln.
Probably.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would trust what they're selling in there. The biggest thing is
well, I think it's all regulated, right? It has to.
Yes, but there's certain industry standards in how you get all the THC removed. Because then you take it and all of a sudden you get drug tested for wherever company you work for. It's boom.
Has that been a problem?
So
Where there's THC still in it?
The stuff I had it because they have full reports that it's 100% removed, but there's been some reports where a little bit's in there, and then they get drug tested through work. It's you failed the drug test because
some of those might not be able to guarantee that because that's what they do is they remove the THC and it's
Correct.
Just the CBD left.
Yep.
So yeah, no, that's probably you better be on that if you're getting drug tested for your work.
Yeah, you got to be. I was traveling to New Zealand. Your wife's family is from over there.
Yes,
So you've been over there twice now?
Once. I'm gonna go back. I think we're gonna go back next year. So my wife is she goes back. She's been her whole life. She's been going back and forth because she was born there. Her dad's a true blue Kiwi. Her mom's a Nebraska girl. She's born there, but she grew up in Nebraska. But they'd always go back. So they'd go, she'd go there and go to school for a month or two. She'd go back and hang with her cousins, go to school, and so it's really it's a pretty cool deal. They, with all that family over there, when we go over, it's like you got a place to stay, and it's like
how do you survive that flight?
15, 16 hours.
That's all. I thought it was like 20-some hours.
20-some hour travel
total,
time.
But 15 in the air from.
15 in the air from Houston to Auckland, and I mean, dude, and we couldn't afford the really good first class like lay down tickets. So like, it's like a regular airplane seat, and it's like. Oof, I mean,
oh my God! How much was like a first class ticket down there? What do they have to spend?
I mean, it's like
to fully get.
I think we got tickets for like $1,000. It was like the greatest deal ever. Normally it's like $2,000 for a ticket, but for a first class one, you're looking at $7,000 or $8,000, depending on
smokes.
the situation. But I remember thinking, like, I looked at those prices, it's like, holy. So who's paying that kind of money? I mean, they'll pay for 2 trips down there, for a couple weeks.
Like, coolest place you ever been?
Oh, up there. I love Greece. Was great too. I went to Greece.
That's right, because you guys were there for your honeymoon.
I went to Greece years before that, but honeymoon we did Paris.
When did you go to Greece?
Oh, me and a buddy of mine, we went and we just hit the beach.
Oh,
it was unbelievable. I'm a big fan of Greece. It was one of the islands down there, and so yeah, I've been a couple places. Have you been overseas?
I never have.
Never have?
We went to Maui for our honeymoon, which was, to me, that was like a 7-hour flight from Denver. That was a grind.
Yeah.
But we got a really good deal in the first class. We got our first class tickets were like your tickets to, and I'm like totally worth it.
That makes it
totally worth it. No, I haven't. I've been like Mexico, and I've been to. Oh, where do we go? Dominican. I never have. I gotta get to Europe. I want to go to play golf, but Greece is like the one, like Greece and Italy. But the nice thing is you can get to everywhere so quick there.
Yeah, once you get there, it's good. It's just easy. You gotta the commitment to get over there is a hard one to jump. It's hard to do it. I mean, most people don't. I mean, my dad's never gone. He's going to Sweden and Norway this summer.
Is he?
Yeah, and he is 66 years old, and he's never been overseas, and so it's amazing. It took him getting to being like retired, where he was finally like, well, maybe I should do. It's like because it's hard. It is. It's hard. It's a hard one to do. It just seems like it's a little scary for people, but what you find out when you go over, it's like they got internet.
Right.
You don't get lost. You don't have to even plan anything. You can go over there and wing it because it's like, you don't. Nobody has maps anymore. Nobody.
Unfortunately, you have to throw a kid in the wrench. It makes those trips a little difficult.
I wouldn't want to go with a kid. I'll say that.
No, I mean we're going to Phoenix in March, and it's like we're not taking him along.
No,
he doesn't know that, but we're not going to take him along because it's not really a vacation when your kids are there.
No, that's your job.
Yes, you're working.
Yeah, he gets to be somewhere.
All right, before we close this up and we get into my 3 and Out segment, I gotta ask you. I don't think you've ever told me this story. I think Stu told me, or Ickes, or someone told me. About one time, because you guys are huge American Idol fans, right? Growing up, like watching it.
We got into it. I don't watch it anymore. But
right.
There was a time.
I would agree. I was sucked in.
There was a time I was sucked into the orbit. The orbit had sucked me into the black hole.
Like, you guys were voting, right?
I've never voted.
You never vote. Okay.
I never voted.
Anyways, is this true or not? That you and Barrett recorded yourself. You had to go into a closet and record yourself singing a song as good as possible.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. So this is my sister thing. My sister Kim. This was her. Somehow we were trying to see if we could sing, and we went into the dark closet so there was no noise, and we would record ourselves singing. And my sister got a hold of the recording.
Oh, she has it?
I don't know. I hope she's burned it. But she, for years, and we didn't know this, for years she was a Theta, and she would show all the girls at Theta. They'd play us singing, and it's like dead pigs squealing. That's how bad our voices are.
So it was you three?
Just me and my brother.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so she got the recording, and she would show everybody, and we found out this later. I'm like, wait a minute, you're telling all these young, attractive women that I'm trying to meet, making them listen to me sing, and I sound like an idiot. So, yeah, my sister did that for forever.
I'm glad I remembered that because
I don't know. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I don't remember who told me. I think it was like Ickes or Stu Bradley or like one of our closest.
She probably showed them too, and I was like,
it's like I wrote it down, and it says where is it? Barrett and you sing in the closet on my notes here. So now I'm glad I remembered because you verified.
Okay, here's another one that got thrown back in my face. This was Ickes and McEwen. Okay, so I'm doing the Nick's pod, and we're doing Thanksgiving.
Right.
We're doing a Thanksgiving pod.
This is good. I listened.
You listened to that one? And so
very entertaining.
I was telling the story of when I had to randomly Callahan chose me to say grace in front of the team, and I got up and it was like Meet the Fockers. It was so embarrassed, so rattled. I didn't know what to say, and I was like, I biffed it. It was horrible. I get a text from McEwen and Ickes basically saying like that they had told Callahan before that I really wanted to do the prayer.
No, they didn't.
And I never knew that. So for years I was sitting there like, why did he choose me that day?
That had been like your sophomore, junior
year. I was
a
sophomore, and I wasn't, you wouldn't have thought, Bo Ruud's the guy that wants to lead this prayer.
Was into the FCA stuff, And
I was just, it was just so random. And then I got that text, and I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. I was so I owe those two. I mean, it's if there's a day that I can get them back. I mean, just stuff you learn later on in life.
That's too good. All right, so we always finish out with my 3 and out questions. Favorite movie?
I will go with what I think is probably the most rewatchable movie, which would be The Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, good one. I just tweeted something about that the other day. Some guy was talking about there's facts that are shown that people notice your shoes first. I said not according to Andy Dufresne.
Not according to Dufresne.
No one pays attention to your shoes.
Who really looks at a man's shoes?
Nobody. Okay, if you had to see, you had one concert to go to the rest of your life, who would it be?
Bruce Springsteen.
I knew you, but even dead or alive. But you're even
dead or alive, Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, easy enough. Here's my favorite one for you. You had to sing one song perfect on karaoke, with your life depending on it. What song would you sing?
Like can't mess up the words.
You can't mess up your words.
Oh, that's really hard.
Like you mess it up, you're getting like a dart to the neck.
Oh God, what would I even?
I mean, would it be a Springsteen song?
But see, Springsteen, the lyrics occasionally I get a word wrong. No matter how many times I've heard "Dancing in the Dark," I get 1 or 2 lines wrong for some reason.
I don't even know what I would do. I have to think about it too. Mine would be like One of These Nights by the Eagles. Like I can sing that one pretty easily, like without. I just have to get going on it, but like.
But it's not the chorus. It's the it's the lyrics in between the chorus where it's like each word. Like you telling me you got to hit every word perfect.
I mean you still have. Yeah.
You're not saying generally because I can get 20 Springsteen songs generally right.
Like
if you're talking word.
I'm not
for
saying
word,
like pitch and like.
I don't know that I feel.
You don't have one song.
I mean, the national anthem, I make it a word wrong. I would maybe go the national anthem. Maybe.
You still remember how to sing the Nebraska fight song from all the times we were had to sing that?
I'm
not going to ask you to sing
I don't even know if I could do that right now.
I just have to get going. You get me going, I can get some songs.
If somebody got... Yeah. I think that's one of my things I wished I was better at was...
I thought you'd have
here's what I'm really good at.
I knew you were going to say Springsteen. I was going to ask you Celebrity Crush, but I already know who that is. I mean, it's Jessica Alba.
It was.
It's now switched.
I don't know if it's changed.
I mean, that was.
I like Scarlett Johansson.
That's mine. Scarlett Johansson.
I've been liking her a lot lately.
You watched the Netflix? What's the Marriage Story?
Yeah.
How do you like her with short hair?
I mean, she's great with anything, but
yeah. What's that movie she's in with? She comes out of the closet and she's like in the red. Oh God, with what's his face
thinking
from?
Of
he's in the
he's just
the
not
Hangover.
that into you.
No, he's been like the guy Bradley Cooper.
He's just not that into you. Is the movie.
Yeah,
I've seen that one too. Sadly.
Yeah. No, you can watch that because she's in that movie.
Yeah.
So okay, I'll let you.
But no, the song lyric one, that's a good question.
Is it good?
That's hard. Do you know why? Because you figure out that
you don't know. But like, you get me
tough.
going. Like I was thinking that one because I'm like trying to think of songs, and like.
What's the one you like? You like More Than Words. More than words. You could sing that one.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all I can give. But see that's hard. Like,
right. I don't even know. I don't know that one that well. Who even sings that song? It's like a
I'm thinking
90s rock band, isn't it?
Journey, Don't Stop Believin'. You could probably sing that one.
Yeah.
But see, I'm really good at something like if you said.
No, like,
play a song, name the artist.
Yeah.
I can do that, but
Yeah.
singing every lyric, that's where
you're not really a country guy. Country songs you can sing. You can sing Garth Brooks, Friends in Low Places.
Country. That's a good one because it's very.
You can't go back to our times at the Red Fox on Wednesday nights at Westo.
That's why when you karaoke though, they read the lyrics. You can. And that's how I always know I'm wrong. And I go,
that's what that word is.
Hold me closer, tiny schmancer. What?
Tony Danza.
Tony Danza?
All right. We'll let you off the hook. Well, that was fun, dude.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Thanks. You're doing more podcasts than me now, so this is nothing for you.
I love podcasts.
It was great.
It is the funnest.
I know.
It is so much fun.
I know.
I do like this basketball microphone.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, it's a good one. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another one. That is it for the More To It podcast. Bad Dude Bo Ruud, and we'll be back. Hell Varsity Magazine, hellvarsity.com. Thank you.